every drop, every taste on the tip of my tongue. Bend my nail, bite my thumb. Evidence won't clear my name. Baby, in your presence will be so forever. Into the moment when I press my eyes shut. Now I'm ready. Anyone else is what we always wanted. Yeah, when we hold each other, nothing else can let us down. The only answer is what we've always wanted for. I'll do anything. I'm not asking this is mine through the perfect strings. 10,000 days on the line. Days won't clear our names. Oh, baby, it's our last kiss. Will last forever. That's the moment when I rest my eyes shut. Now I'm ready.
Eject them, it's over! Top shelf where Mama hides the cookie! Here come the Buffalo Sabres!
Welcome, everybody, to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. 8 different Western New York locations, open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later, with live music and trivia at all 8 locations and over 300 beers to choose from. That is might be the first time I got that right, 100% of the first try. And Buffalo Logo Apparel, one of the best places to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, from your shirts, your hats, to your hoodies. Make sure you check out at Buffalo Logo Co. on Instagram and Twitter. I have a lot of great stuff to choose from, and check them out because they're going to be doing our merch very soon. They were teasing it this week on Instagram, so go check them out and see what they have to offer. Joined by one of the original OGs of the podcast. Been on hiatus for a while. Ty B, you have returned to I'll Hang Up and Listen. You were at the game tonight. You were pretty rowdy from what you told us. Tell us how you're feeling.
First time, long time, Duane. Before I get into it, need an upper decker. Need to crack a brew.
I love it.
That's just the way the team makes me feel nowadays. I mean, I went to the game Tuesday. I went to the game tonight. It was a completely different team. There was no transitional play. Yes, they got a shit ton of shots off. No one's crashing to the net. There's no second chances. There's no nothing. And you want to talk about compete level and this and that. That's it right there. When you're down 2 goals late in the game and you need to get back into it, you need to get to the net. You need to get your stick down. Do anything you can. And these guys are just all over the place and just let the puck go flying by them, let alone you're down by 2 goals, right? Goal differential means nothing. We're 10 points out of the playoffs right now, right?
Yep.
3 minutes left. That goalie should be gone. You need 2
agree.
goals. He should be gone immediately. Granato's not even thinking about it yet. I am screaming. Everyone else around me is like, what is he doing? Like, why is he not pulling him?
Yeah.
It blows my mind how everyone in the arena knows the right play and the head coach doesn't at this point. And something needs to change. And whether it's him, the assistants, whatever, because I've been a big proponent of Matt Ellis and these other guys who've been a big point of, what's gone wrong with Granato's tenure here. But you can't excuse it any longer.
No, I agree with you, man. Like everyone knows my feelings on the assistant coaches. Matt Ellis being on top of the list. Like I think you did Don Granado a huge disservice to start it. Like you know what I mean. Like when you have, we'll call him a rookie NHL head coach. He's been around the game his entire life. We'll call him what it is. He's a rookie NHL head coach. He's been an assistant before, but his first time being the bench boss. You should want to surround him with experience, right? Like guys who have been not even just
Absolutely.
former players, but guys who have been to the playoffs, either as an assistant, maybe a recycled head coach. You know, people who know the ins and outs of what it takes to be an NHL head coach or an assistant at the very least. Everybody knows the story about Mike Pekka. He wanted to be on the bench. They wanted to make him the eye in the sky. Instead, he wouldn't want that. That's why he went to the Rangers, and he's thriving in New York. They already talked about him being a head coach as early as next season. Anywhere else. I think they did him wrong because maybe they wanted to
100%.
cheap. I don't know.
You can use any excuse in the books at this point. The fact is they made a mistake yet again when it comes to figuring out what you're doing with this coaching staff. Don Coronado is a good developer of talent. We've seen that. Like he's coached throughout, pretty much every level and been successful, but he's never been a head coach at the NHL level, which is a completely different ball game. When you don't have assistant coaches who've been there, you look into other leagues like the NFL and you kind of see like what happened with Sean McDermott. Why was he so successful early on? He had Leslie Frazier. Yeah, Sean McDermott's a defensive guy, but he can lean on Leslie. He doesn't have to be there all the time. He can, lend an extra ear over to the offense, help out with them because he can lend his defensive expertise on knowing his counters, what the offense is going to do to work that out. So you need that dichotomy where like you have guys who have different skills in terms of your coaches. Whereas we have Matt Ellis, who has less than 20 career goals. Sam Reinhart has over 20 power play goals this year, which is more than the entire Buffalo Sabres have as a whole.
Yep, it's
So
true.
let's talk about the real problem here. Why is this man still here? As I walked out of the game, as we gave up yet another empty net goal for no reason because Darlene, I don't know what he did. He just completely
Loves the puck at the blue line. Yeah.
completely fumbled on the blue line there. That was terrible. That's on him 100%. But you give that up. I go right down to the end of the aisle behind the net in the 300s. Quick fire down Granado. People are not happy. Like there is a problem when the Bandits have 2 times the amount of fans in the arena than the Buffalo Sabres do.
You're not wrong. You're not
There
wrong. It's true.
1,000 people.
And it's not even just this year, man. It was even for parts of last year too. Like I was so looking forward to games this year. Yeah, I mean, like I was looking forward to that. Like you were at the
We
end of
all were.
last season.
I
mean,
almost split season tickets.
Yeah, dude, me too. I almost
glad I
renewed them
didn't.
with my dad. I had the tickets forever with my dad when that arena first opened, and then my cousin used to get them, so I used to split seasons with him. And then after my dad decided he wanted to get season tickets, so I went in on with him. And then I just told him like a couple of years ago, I'm like, I can't justify it. I can't justify it
It's
because you get
ridiculous.
to this point in the season,
And now tickets are $10.
yeah, and you're like you can't even give your tickets away.
No, so I was going to the game Tuesday. I was out at the bar beforehand, and some guy's like, "Oh, you guys are in Sabres jerseys? You guys are going to the game?" We're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And he's like, "You guys just want my tickets?" And we're like, "Well, we got 4 and we're like split up. So like, yeah, we'll just take the 4 together, like in the club
Yeah,
level."
right.
Sure. Like, yeah, thank you. Like it's at that point again where it's so embarrassing where like the attendance is getting so low and someone gives you tickets for free and it's like an obligation to go to the arena.
You couldn't pay me. And you're talking about me, like a guy who I'm out like even before I had the sponsorship, like I'm here after every game talking about this team. I could be doing other stuff, man. Like I could be sleeping right now for all I care. I'm 36 years old. Like I need all the sleep I can get. I'm here. I'm here talking about them. I'm just as passionate as I was. I am now as I was 3 years ago, and I'm just speechless at this point. They come off having a game where They score. They win 7-0, but the game before the post game before, their coach calls them out for being too soft, not going to the net enough. The effort calls out all these things, and then you respond with a 7-0 effort. And it's not like they played bad offensively tonight. I'll give them that. They outshot them 17-7 in the second period. Like, they had their opportunities, but to your point, like, you're not getting those second opportunities. You're not
playing against Stolars.
Yeah, dude. Like, again, we make a backup goaltender look like Ryan Miller or Dominic Hasek. Like,
everyone's like, why is the over under 6.5? I'm like, well, you got two backup goalies playing against each other, and Stolars is standing on his head because the Buffalo Sabres don't know. Jordan Greenway just shooting directly at the logo after taking like 4 seconds on a little delay toey.
Yeah.
Right to the logo. What are you doing? At least put it the fucking pad so we can get a rebound. Like, try to make a positive play. Like, what are you? I don't understand any of these players' mindsets because they don't look like they're trying to help each other. They don't look like they're trying to play well for themselves to get a good contract. They just look like they're on the ice. It looks like it's Disney on ice.
You're not wrong. One thing I want to talk about too is just like, we'll talk about a few things, but Peyton Krebs, there's so much more to that kid than the stat line.
It's terrible. Like, you put him out there again with Gergensons and whoever the hell else, and like, he's the only one out there flying around. He's making plays. He's getting on the puck, and he has no one to pass it to.
Nobody.
Absolutely no one. And then he gets moved up the other day, has a very successful day, and he gets moved right back down. And then you move Okposo up to the first line with Skinner and Thompson. Like, what are you doing? The guy is steps behind on every single play, and we're trying to play in transition. We're like generally a fast team with our younger players in the forward position outside of that line. So when you put Okposo up there, that just holds everything off. And it made zero sense today why they made that move when things were going very well on Tuesday.
And when you watch him, when you just focus in on him, just the quickness of his hands, his speed, his creativity, he's a smart hockey player. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate all the extra things he's going to develop out his game, playing in that checking line role with those guys. Like, he's a little instigator, he's a little agitator out there. Great, I'm glad about that. He's fearless. I'm happy about that. I'm glad he's been able to pick up those things from playing in that role. But at what point are you going to give the kid who was a piece of arguably the biggest trade in your franchise's history next to Dominic Hasek, which wasn't even supposed to be a big trade at the time? Like, so we'll just call the Jack Eichel trade for what it was. It was the biggest trade in franchise history because of who it was, what he was supposed to mean for the team, what we went through to get him, what he was getting paid. He was the fucking captain. Yep. He was a big part of that trade along with Alex Tuck in that first-round pick. And you're treating him the way Ralph Kruger treated Jeff Skinner.
Pretty much.
How do you expect him to succeed in
that's
these
exactly
roles?
What's happening. And then meanwhile, you got Gergensons and Okposo and these other guys skating in these roles where you could be bringing up guys like Kulik, like Rosen, like Osland to step in and play in a third, fourth line role, but have some speed, have a little bit of skill in there. And that's what the NHL is nowadays. When you look at these Lightning teams that have been so successful for the past decade, it's not just Stamkos. It's not just Kucherov. Like, you look at guys like Cirelli and all these other guys who have stepped up from third, fourth line roles and have moved on and are even succeeding in bigger spots for other teams at this point, just because of cap casualties. Like guys like Alex Killorn. Like, Alex Killorn is an incredible player. And he was like a third, fourth line forgotten guy there, but he was one of the most important players in some of those Stanley Cup years. And we don't have anybody like that. And you have these old guys who are holding those spots from young guys who can come in and step into those roles. And that's what really frustrated me in this offseason is, hey, you're going to bring back Gergensons, you're going to bring back Okposo, and like, you're just holding up roster spots on all these young guys. You're clogging everything up. We know we have a lot of players in this similar kind of age gap, right? You can't keep everybody here just because of the way the salary cap is and everything. So you have to figure out who's going to work and who's not, who's going to work with what players. And you have to move on from guys before other teams are like, all right, this guy's done. You know what I mean? You have to figure out your puzzle pieces before the other teams figure out like these guys might not be as good, or hey, this guy might just figure out or work better in our system. So move him on then. So like you're just going to put yourself in a very tough situation where you're dumping these big first round players, for poker chips at that point. And it's really not worth it. Like you have to figure out what you have in house, and they're just not doing that. When you look at those 05, 06 Sabres, what happened? Like you brought all those young guys up and
Yep.
you let them
That
figure
was
things
incredible.
out. And you didn't clog that up with a bunch of old, retreads down there. Like you brought everyone up, and like Pominville came up, he played well, he stayed up. And that's what it should be for all these guys. And they're not even getting those chances. Like they play well, they just get sent right back down. It doesn't matter.
Agreed. Listen, I transitioning from that, a point you did bring up, an excellent point. Why is Kyle Okposo still on the top line? Like, if anything, you have two guys on that line that are struggling. Well, I wouldn't say Jeff Skinner struggles. He's always going to score goals. But Tage Thompson is struggling. He's struggling.
Yeah.
I think he's been playing hurt since
I
the second
think
week
I
of the
think
season.
it might be a shoulder injury, just the way his
And the
shots
hand.
don't
Remember, there
have
was
the
a hand
same.
thing too.
Yeah, he just didn't have
But
the same snap on the shot.
he's
Not there.
playing through
He's all
pain.
over the place still. Yeah,
But you're putting a guy on that line that just and
he's on the
I
first
don't
power
like
play.
talking badly about Kyle.
He was on the first power play in front of the net.
Yeah, like I get it. He goes to the net. I get it. He's a thick body. Like I get that. But you have a guy that goes to the net already on the line. Like Jeff Skinner makes his paycheck from sitting in those areas.
And
Where does
Cousins
he
isn't
score most
small.
of his goals?
Put Cousins in the middle. His hands are way faster to get on a deflection or anything. Like he can battle in front of the net, and then you bring in another skill winger, so then Cousins doesn't have to play off on the side. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make it.
Or Peyton Krebs even. He's played up the middle
He can
and
play
on
in
the
the
wing.
middle.
Even Peyton Krebs.
Give him a
Like,
chance.
Like I honestly, God, like what is stopping you at this point? Listen. They're not going to
He's
fire.
trying everything
They only
else.
have to lose 15 straight from the Fire Granado at this point because his extension hasn't even kicked in yet. It doesn't kick in until the start of next season. So like Terry Pagula doesn't want to pay another guy. He's probably still paying Ralph Kruger. He doesn't want to pay Don Granado too to not coach for him. Like so, chances are we're stuck with Don Granado until next season.
So figure out some new assistants.
Exactly. Give these guys a chance. Steve Bennett, who's a good friend of mine, came on this show with me, and he said, if this was the plan all season to start
coaching
is to keep developing what we did last year and to continue, then why did we bring back Kyle Okposo and Zemgus Girgensons? Why not give those spots to players who can help you more offensively?
Yeah.
Instead, nothing against Zemgus Girgensons. Listen, I think Girgensons is a very valued player in this league. He is. There's going to be a lot of teams, Boston especially, they're going to be interested in a guy like him because he's a shutdown forward. He's great on the penalty kill. He never stops skating. He's hungry. He wants to play in the playoffs. He's never been there. But if this was the plan, why did you re-sign Jost? Why did you bring back Kyle Okposo? Like, what leadership qualities is he giving you that are showing there on and off the ice? Because we've seen it too many times this season where they don't show up at puck drop.
Oh, 100%. I make this joke all the time because the Sabres do it where they go down 2 goals, and I'm just like, oh, you got to go down 2 goals until you come back. Me and my buddies do it when we're online playing Chell, and like we actually come back because like we wake up. That wakes us up. The Sabres go down 2 goals, and they're like, oh, there's a game today? Like, what's going on here? Like, they just if you bring back a guy like Kyle Okposo, and from the things I heard this offseason from rumblings, it was like Okposo basically said he wasn't going to re-sign unless Girgensons did. So the team had to offer both, so they did. So stupid. Yeah, and if that's the case, you shouldn't have re-signed either of them because what we've seen from this team is complete inconsistency. So if you're bringing him back to be a leader, what is he leading us in?
Listen. I agree with you.
I'd rather just give Tuck the C and just be like,
I'm glad I'm not the only one
we
that thinks
bleed for
Alex Tuck
this,
should be the captain.
we bleed for this city, and that's it. Like if we lose, we lose, but we're gonna go out on our shield every night, and they don't. They don't even try. Look at the end of the game tonight. Gave up 2 empty net goals. They looked like shit after we pulled the goalie.
Yeah.
And an extra attacker doesn't mean anything for this team, right?
No, it doesn't. The power play doesn't mean anything.
When we were one of the best power plays last year, the power play means absolutely nothing this year.
No.
And meanwhile, you look at the Rangers and you look at their power play, and I don't even want to get back into it, but it's night and day what we could have had and what we do have.
Yeah, agreed. Couldn't agree with you more. And the deadline's less than a month away. It's March 8th. So we're less than a month away, about 3 weeks away. And like Kevin Adams has a lot of decision to make. He's got one guy out there who's constantly in the trade talks, and Casey Middlestat. What do they do with him? Do they trade him? Do they bring him back? What's he going to demand? I'm actually, believe it or not, like I want to keep a guy like Casey because
he wants to be here.
Huh?
He wants to be here.
Exactly.
He's made it very clear. He's not like, oh, my name's in there. Like, we'll see what happens. Like, I want a contract. I just want to be, whatever. He's like, no, I want to be in Buffalo. I want to be with these guys. That's a really good sign. And it's been slow development, and we've seen the Sabres move on from a few guys. Especially in the goaltender position, when you look at the past and you look at all these other guys every single year in the playoffs, guys like Nikita Zadorov and insert any other name, guys who are making long playoff runs year after year. William Carrier, like all these,
a couple of
Zach
them.
Cassian, like all these guys. Sam Reinhart. It just goes to show what we could have had if we had competent, whatever it is, front office, coaching, anything.
Yeah, I mean, scouting, like. Hey, listen,
we had the talent. We've always had it here.
We have a top six. We have a solid top six, a really solid top six. Yeah, I don't think we could have predicted this type of regression. Obviously, I forget who was it that tweeted it out earlier. The Man Games law, like how many players played at least like 70 something games last year compared to this year. Like we had a very large amount of our better players play for the most part, almost the entire season last year. And this year it's nothing close to that.
Yeah.
So far, it won't be anything close to that. But like for me, it's just like I don't know. Like you have to expect the regression. How is the only offensive player that you added this season the 18-year-old kid you drafted? Like that is mind-blowing.
You didn't even expect to add him to the roster.
No, you didn't expect him to play as well as he did.
Fully played himself into it.
100%. And listen, I'm not like I know his play has dropped off quite a bit. And he had a long cold streak.
He's not putting up points, but if you watch the game, he is the one player every single shift
never stops
that is giving 100%. His feet are moving the entire time. His forecheck is exceptional. Like he causes so many turnovers in the corners on other teams. It's just the other offenders are just dipping back too early. Like no one's down there to recover the puck with him. Like Zach Benson is going to be a very, very, very good player because he understands where he has to go to get goals.
Literally, yeah.
He is one of very few players to come into the league at this age that understands you have to go into corners, you have to get to the front of the net, you have to get dirty at some points. And the Sabres in general just don't want to do that. My dog wants to right now. She's squeaking her toy. Like she loves getting into it. But the Sabres don't.
Not only we get Ty B back on the show, but we get an appearance from the dog. I love it. I couldn't agree with you more, man. And at some point, something's got to give. You can't have a deadline this year like you had last year. Jordan Greenway can't be the move. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you're going to be a seller deadline, but you can still also be a buyer.
I like that move just because of the potential upside on something like that.
Yeah,
Like Greenway's a great,
I
bottom
like
six
Greenway.
forward. I
He's a
love
bottom six
Greenway's
guy.
play.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Like he is another guy who is generally moving his feet. Tonight he looked pretty sluggish though. Like he was not doing what he normally does. He seemed a little bit off tonight. On Tuesday, he was all over the place.
He was the
Like
best
he
player on the
was
ice Tuesday.
100%. Um, it, it's just weird. I just don't get the inconsistencies, especially like you're not traveling, you're not doing anything, nothing's going on in Buffalo. The weather's shitty. What are you doing in between Tuesday and Thursday that's throwing you off that bad
Yeah.
when the Panthers played last night? They're coming on a back to back, and you look like the team who was sluggish when you had a day off at home. Like there's a big problem with that. Yeah, against a backup goalie.
Yep.
Exactly.
We got a
You have
lot
to
of
take
comments in
advantage
the
of
gallery.
those.
Top line, Will Skinner has disappeared. Tage tries but can't finish. And Okposo is Okposo. Agreed. Classy move by Reinhardt, passing instead of scoring on the open net. I tweeted it out like, "Wow, man, he's a nice guy." Like, because he could have totally Ridley Greig that.
We
would have.
me and my buddies needed him for our parlay, so I was like, please shoot it.
Yeah.
And then he didn't, and that's when we left. Yeah. Because I'm like, well, hopefully we score one because we had plus 2.5 at that point, and I was just like, never mind.
Oh man, I listen. I was really hoping for I would have respected it so much, and like Montour too. Montour looked great out there. He's been great for the Panthers ever since we dealt him there for a 3rd round pick, mind you. I think it was a 3rd round pick. Like guy has just been an absolute monster on the blue line for Florida.
Who was the other guy we sent down there, and he was a defenseman. He was like playing forward for him and scored a hat trick. Like it blows my mind the shit that happens from.
It was God, Pissick.
Pesek, I think
Mark
it was.
Pysyk, yeah.
I think it was Pesek, yeah.
Pysyk, yeah. Mark Pysyk.
Hops on forward, gets a fucking hat
It's
trick
good.
on another team. Like
We're just a
that
farm,
just
we're
goes
just
to
a farm
show.
club for teams that get better. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear any excuse about how we were injured. You pumped 40 shots on any goalie. You should get at least 1 goal. Couldn't agree with you more.
You should at least get one.
Not
The
surprising they
odds
capped
would be
off
in
a
our
7-0
favor.
shutout by getting shut out. Typical Sabres from our favorite guy, Mauricio. Thompson,
Absolutely.
Middlestat, Benson all had decent looks. The score, forwards panic, lose faith, rush, lack any scoring, touch, scoring, finesse. Paterka played out of control with Cousins. No synchronicity. Change the lines. I don't disagree with you. Panthers standards talent, another stratosphere, including coaching. Players look
That's why
like
they're one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference.
Well, even in our group chat, I think it was.
But it's crazy though how we usually play up against the best.
That's what I'm
teams.
saying.
Like,
we
beat every single.
Yeah, we
like,
beat all the good teams. So why would you expect us to? I mean, this was a game going to the 3rd period. It was only 2-0.
We are all over them too. And
we
just couldn't score.
Think that it was an automatic loss. What? Because we're missing Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I mean, sure, he's been fantastic. Top 3 goalie in the league since the year started.
Comrie played well.
Yeah, Conley played definitely more than good enough to win tonight.
100%. They just couldn't score.
Yeah. Clifton
had
had better scoring chances. I do want to talk about Connor Clifton because Connor Clifton had some great fucking looks tonight. He did.
He's like me playing defense in Chell right now because I don't know what the hell they did to the tuners. They were supposed to like increase shooting from further away, and I get so many good looks. And goalie's like,
dude. Like
it blows my mind. He's been getting very unlucky. He did have some good looks, and he's been seeing with guys in front. Like there was a good time I think where Okposo was in front and had a chance at the rebound and just did not see it.
Yeah. Adams is responsible for the makeup of this team, and he has failed at bringing in enough players with grit and not realizing this is a problem. I agree. This team doesn't have, I've said this 1,000 times. I will beat this dead horse and I will die on this hill alone if I have to. This team needs role players. They don't need high level, elite level talent guys. They have those guys in their top 6, guys that they expect to be them. What you need is, to your point earlier, guys like Alex Killorn, like a Daniel
100%.
Sprong, a Blake. I've said this name 1,000 times. I'll keep saying it. Blake Coleman, even Nazem Kadri, who puts a lot of points up, but a guy who, when they're out there,
everyone keeps saying Scott Lawton.
Yeah, even him.
I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind him.
Someone go to the net and someone just push someone around.
But listen, you need guys like that. This team especially. You need guys that are going to make players look over their shoulder, that are that they hate playing against. Find a guy on this team right now that teams hate playing against other than number 26.
Yeah, 100%. So, Duane, before I hop off here, this is exactly what I'm going to go to. I'm a big analytics guy, but there's a lot of things the numbers cannot explain in terms of, creating discrepancies in front of the net, causing trouble in the corners, things like that. Guys like Scott Lawton and stuff like that, people who can create a little bit of turmoil, can allow some of your offensive players to get free, because then you get another guy who jumps down into the corner, you pass it out into the front, boom, wide open. You have to make those plays. You have to have guys who are willing to make those plays,
Agreed.
who are willing to take those hits. The Buffalo Sabres don't have anyone who are willing to take hits and who are willing to do those things. You have to get grimy. You have to do what you have to do to score goals when they're not going in. It doesn't matter if you take 60 shots. It doesn't matter if you take 20 shots. You have to put something in the back of the net. And if you don't, you have to figure out a fucking way. And
you have to score the grimy
And if
goals.
not, peace.
Listen, thanks, Ty B, for hopping on, bud. Hope to have you on again soon.
I'll be back for sure. Had to get some off my chest tonight, though.
Fire Granada. Welcome on every post game, bud. You're a member of the family. From Nick Raintree, Benson makes a team because it's the Sabres. He doesn't make most other teams in the NHL this season. Maybe some, but I think Zach Benson would have made it hard for a lot of other teams in the league to say no. Yes, we were desperate need for a difference maker offensively, and maybe Buffalo had much higher hopes than what they're getting right now. But at the end of the day, he's 18 years old. He isn't fully grown into his body. He's going to grow more. He's going to get bigger. He's going to put on more mass. He's going to be more of a pest out there. He's going to be a nightmare to play against in a few years. But I think that Zach Benson on even some better teams in this league, with the way he played in preseason and the way he played in his first 7 games in the regular season, I think they would have made the same decision. But with that being said, that was the problem for Buffalo. They needed help offensively. They legitimately did nothing to add to this roster offensively. That was their addition, and that's a huge fucking problem. Benson is a decent player, yet he lacks scoring touch. Agreed. I think scoring touch comes with experience. I think we've seen the scoring touch in small sample sizes this year, but he needs to be surrounded with more talent. He needs more experience, and he needs to put on more size. I remember when Sam Reinhart, what would have been his rookie year, the first go around, when he played his first 7 games, and they sent him to Rochester. They told him, or they sent him to junior. I didn't send the junior to Rochester, I can't remember. But Tim Murray told him, we need you to go in the gym. They put him on a diet regimen. They said, you need to be in the gym this often. You need to be doing these types of workouts. And, we'll talk, about getting you back in this lineup next season. And he made the team next season. Second overall pick or not, shouldn't guarantee you a spot on the team. I think that was a good decision at the time by Tim Murray. I don't think we will buy at the deadline. I'm not saying you have to buy, but you could sell but still bring in guys with term. And I think you have the assets in your system to do that. Especially with a team like Calgary, who literally, and San Jose too, teams that have guys with term on their rosters that are saying, hey, we're for sale. We have guys for sale outside of the obvious players. From David, he'll sit on his hands. It has to be coaching and not just Granato. Agreed. We've been saying this on this program, on this post game, on Two Goalies, One Mike for a long time. It's everybody around Granato as well. It's not just him. Everybody that leaves seems to play great. That was Fitzgerald. Not sure if I think talking about Casey Fitzgerald, but he was talking about Mark Pysyk as well, because Pysyk played for Florida as well. Benson leads a team and getting knocked down. Again, these are things that'll come for him when he puts more size on as he gets older. He isn't a fully matured adult yet. He's only 18. He's a kid. Stolar's got his Saros mode going in the locker room. No goals. It's been beaten to death by everyone. We need someone on our team that is going to make a difference both on and off the ice. What the fuck, Kevin? Agree with you, Chris. We don't have a guy. We don't have role players on this team that are going to make a difference on and off the ice. That their play in the bottom six will resonate throughout your entire lineup and, boost everybody else's play. And everybody who's played not just hockey, but really any competitive sport, there are guys on that team that help you elevate your play. And, I keep referring it to that Boston Red Sox team because I am a Boston Red Sox team. But after they blew a 15-game lead on the wild card, what was it? I can't remember which year, 2012 or whatever it was. They came back the next season after firing their manager. They got rid of the cancerous players in the team that didn't give a shit, and they brought in role players and Mike Napoli and Johnny Gomes and Shane Victorino, and they won the World Series the very next season. I'm not saying the Sabres are going to win a Stanley Cup when you do that. It's not going to happen. But players that are going to resonate through your lineup in that bottom six role, that keeps you on your toes, that, when you see them go out there laying out, blocking shots, running people through the boards, going hard to the net, coming back with their face beat and tethered after a fight, like, they're just going to resonate through your team. It's just going to go to the first, like, shit, man, look what that guy just went through to just a guy who is getting 8 to 10 total minutes a night, or however many minutes, 12 minutes a night. And he's putting his body through that. He's putting himself through that. I got to elevate my play. Like, every team has that. Every good team has that. We don't have that right now. We just don't. And it drives me absolutely nuts. Adams is my biggest problem. He didn't do anything at free agency and hasn't made trades to surround these guys with talent. We have too many prospects and not enough NHL caliber players. Yes, I agree. I think I am happy with the top six. I am. I'm not happy with the way they're playing now, but like on paper, that is a top six. It's supposed to be right fairly near the top of the league, top echelon of the league, not in the bottom half. And they just regress so much playing through injuries. I know we don't like using the injuries as an excuse, but it's true. But your bottom six is so bad. It's just so bad. And you're not getting enough from them. And you're not getting the type of play you need from them. Not even just on the score sheet, just from all around. Too often you have guys that just go through the motions every night. When you start your bottom six for the game, they don't set the tone early. I don't know, man. Listen, I'm getting tired of talking about it. I really am. We're going on 40 minutes here, and I'll hang up and listen. I'm going to call it an early night here as we're getting approaching 11 o'clock at night. Rob Ray mentions Scolar's weakness is upper levels of net because he goes into butterfly and falls down early. Players shot at his feet and chest all night. A lot of shots into his crest tonight, I will say that. As many shots as we had, a lot of those shots came on the perimeter. So I think he made some decent saves tonight, some nice saves, but you need to make it harder. You need to make it harder for him. So remember, guys, this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 8 different Western New York locations, open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later. Live entertainment, music, and trivia at all 8 locations all week long. Make sure you go check out Fatty Beer Company. You can find them at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter. And, of course, Buffalo Logo Apparel, one of the best spots to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, whether it's your shirts, your hats, your hoodies. They have it all over there, all the local designs. They support local businesses. You should go check out Brother Bill's. Everyone, if you're a Bills fan, you know who Brother Bill is. Go check out his line of clothes right now. You can find, Buffalo Logo is a supporter of that. Go check him out at Buffalo Logo Co. on Instagram and Twitter, buffalogoco.com. I am Duane from Two Goalies, One Mike signing off. Guys, we will talk to you again next time. I don't even know when the next Keepers game is right now. I'm not going to look it up. So whenever that game is, you will hear from us. I think we might record tomorrow. Myself and Connor will see on an episode 2 Goalies and Mike. So keep an eye out for that. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you go subscribe. We appreciate it. Hit a like on this video. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really does help the show quite a bit. I will talk to you later. I'll hang up and listen. Go Sabres.
All the ups, but we felt the down. Streets are boarded up in this border town. All the small secret landmarks, the shortcuts, and routes, crude maps that we drew to make sense of our daily. Babies made calling flowers, callous chords. All say something different.